start a digital marketing agency. Okay, so I love the fact that we are all like, on the same page. We are all business oriented. Either we're already in business or we are, aspiring and looking to get started on the journey. So I don't know how many of you here were in the first masterclass we had earlier, right? Where we discussed, the general insights around starting a business, right, in the UK. And I think that session was really, really insightful. I think a lot of people poured out their arts and, we really shared insights. Right. So today we're talking more about the mistakes, common mistakes to avoid, because one of the things that that I've seen after having coached quite a number of people is that a lot of people make mistakes that they should, gone are the days when you need to learn from your mistakes. Now you don't necessarily need to make mistakes to learn from them. You can actually be proactive and learn before, so you avoid to make those mistakes, because we all know that business, some mistakes can be costly enough to even kick you completely out of business, right? So you don't want to learn from your mistakes all the time. Sometimes you want to be proactive, learn from those that have done it, right? So you don't have to make those mistakes. So we've got Oluwabumi from Essex as well, into food business. Right, so let's get right into the rest of it to introduce myself as well. Right, do we have anybody here that was in the last session that we had? Do we have anyone who was in the last session that we had? I think, was it earlier in the month or late last month? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Right, were you in the first session we had?
No, I wasn't.
No, you were not. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So let's get right onto. So what are we going to be covering today? So just like I said, we're going to be covering, common mistakes people make in business, how to identify and avoid critical pitfalls when launching or scaling your business. And, you're also going to learn from my own personal mistakes that I made, right? So no matter how successful one might look from, a particular point, there are always mistakes that, there are always things that even we are still learning on the journey. No one knows it all, which is why it's always good to be part of a community where you can learn from others, and not just guessing. And, because one of the great things that you'd have to do in business is decision making. For every decision you make, there are consequences and there are, potential outcomes. And in business, it can be quite, making the wrong decision can actually affect, the business. Also, we're also going to talk about how, we can work together, right? And so you can get ongoing support from the RKY Business Coach. So a little bit about myself. So my name is Rukayat Alabi, and I'm a multi-award winning entrepreneur. I'm a speaker, I'm a business coach, a career coach. I wear so many hats. So if we have people here like that, because I know that that's another thing that a lot of people struggle with, right? Especially when they're like divergent, and you have a lot of things roaming your head and you don't even know, how do I do all of this together? How do I define myself? How do I introduce myself? I know there was a time that introducing myself when I go for events and when I meet with, which part of me should I talk about now? Is it the career part or is it the business part or is it even the events? Especially when we're planning LWB, for those of you that know about the event side of our business, right? So is it LWB I should talk about? How can I put everything together such that even when this person is leaving, they know that all of these things. Sometimes it might not actually be necessary for them to know all of that. Just tell them what's most important to them, and then when they connect with you, they can now find out more about you, and they can now be wowed that, wow, if this person is doing this, this person is also here and there, right? But that's just a little nugget there that I figured out as well, eventually, which now you have learned. Okay, so I've got over 12 years of experience across finance, tech, and entrepreneurship. And I've built and scaled successful businesses, RKY careers, the business of Apply Bodied, LWB, and all of that in like under the RKY Group. So I'm known for turning vision into impact and helping others, do the same either in their career or in their businesses. And I've actually, been doing this and also been well recognized. I've been featured in Forbes, in Guardian, Arise News, Channels TV, Business Insider, the US Times, and all. And in terms of awards, I've won over 10 awards, in this journey. And just recently, I was named, a finalist in the Black British Business Awards, the Entrepreneurial category, sponsored by Barclays. And I was also a finalist in the Black Tech Achievements Awards. I've been awarded Innovative Entrepreneur of the Year, EdTech CEO of the Year, and so much more, really. All right, I've also been a speaker at, several universities, several events, and I'm also the host and convener of, one of the biggest events for for immigrants communities in the UK. My mission remains one, and I always say it, I always make it clear, and I always tell people anywhere I go, regardless of what they look like as well, that my mission is to ensure and empower people, right, in the ethnic minority, immigrants, and underrepresented community to make sure that they do not settle for less, right? So we also build impactful careers, business, so many of my initiatives have helped families. I can't count how many success stories I've had where both the husband and the wife got their success stories, from being affiliated or enrolling in any of our coaching program or, our training. I've had, so many situations where people that were almost giving up, passed through our boot camp and, today, like the success they've achieved in the UK, they can attribute it to, the finding out or being in one of these kind of sessions at one point or the other. And that is truly what keeps me going, the success stories, the impact, even at LWB, I don't know if for those of you, I don't know how many of you were there, right? But till today, we are still getting feedback about how LWB, how LWB has touched lives. How I know I can't count how many people went to register their businesses after LWB. I can't count how many people, came on board, to join the business coaching program so they can actually learn the art of business, right, from myself, right? So, and I can't count how many people also like had turning points in their career, so like those are the things that keep me going, right? The impacts, the lives being changed, that's what keep me going, right? And yeah, I'm super proud, of this, impact. So why are we here today? Or before we get into that, my own path to entrepreneurship, which I'm sure you all want to know. For those dropping wonderful comments in the chat box, thank you so much. And Theophilus, wonderful, Mama Ruki. Well done, RKY. You are indeed an inspiration. Those who didn't come missed, and we are really proud of you too. Thank you for that. So let's talk about my path to entrepreneurship because I'm sure that's why you are here today, because I know that you want to forge a path for yourself. So, like I said, right, I've successfully done it, started not one, not two, up to 5 businesses here in this UK, including even property. I've got a property business, which I don't really also like, um, I don't also like, what's it called? It's not at the forefront, but I've actually touched my hand on a wide range of businesses. So I can confidently tell you that when it comes to business, I'm your best coach, to have to really understand business. Okay, or to really understand how to navigate, what happens in business, especially, based on the fact that where we come from, most of us were not born here. There are some advantages that you would naturally get. There's some communities you would ordinarily be a part of that you are not, right? And that is what I'm trying to create that community for people like us, myself, yourself. And that's what we should all do when we also, achieve those goals, create room for others, right? So my path to entrepreneurship and my path of my career and professional and business path started from solid foundation in customer service. I started my career in back in Nigeria. I don't know how many of you here are from Nigeria originally. I have a background in customer service, in accounting, banking, and finance. I worked for over 10 years in Guarantee Trust Bank in Nigeria before I moved, to the UK. And I also had my own strategic pivots into tech. I didn't just move to the UK to become a business owner. For those of you that are in career, I also trying to pivot to tech. I had that part of my journey as well. Right. I used to work in the city as a senior finance analyst until a year ago, when I left to focus fully on business. Right. So now I run 5 successful businesses in the UK, and I created the RKY Business Hub to help others avoid mistakes I made, as well as for us to also learn from each other. Because even as much as I said, I don't even know it all still. Right. I successfully trained and mentored hundreds of aspiring and early stage entrepreneurs. And, I've got deep expertise in business structure, branding, digital system, market positioning, and all of that. Right. So, I mean, if you one thing I'm so proud of also is what we've built at RKY across all the different pillars of business. We stand upright. If you look at the compliance side, we stand upright. If you look at the marketing side, that's RKY Group as well, right? We stand upright. If you look across all these channels, and if you look at PR as well, you meet me there. There's no part of business, and all of these things, if you put them together, those are the things that creates a successful business. It's not about getting one right and missing out on the other, right? Even technology systems, right? Which is why, right, we are here today so that we can, So now let's talk about the costly mistakes I made. These are just a few of them that I'll be talking about today. Before RKY Group or before RKY, I actually tried my hands on some businesses, which some of you might not know, but those of you who do not know me, right? And one of the mistakes I made was poor validation and structure, right? Poor validation and structure. I remember just after COVID as well. I just as after COVID, I was on maternity leave during COVID. So during that period, I was just tired of staying at home, and I was just like, what can I do? Like I wasn't even ready to get into 9 to 5 because I had a baby in my hands, and you know how it is. If you don't have a job to pay for nursery, or if you can't pay for nursery, you would definitely have to take care of your child and look for what you can do alongside, your child. So those are the kind of so for me then, COVID started staying at home. So I tried and this was me coming straight from, banking, just relocated, not to like about 3 years or 2 years before that period. And I was just tired. So I started doing personal shopping. I don't know if you guys know what personal shopping is. I wish I had pictures here to show you of my personal shopping days. I'm sure most of you can't believe it, right? I don't know if anybody here knows what personal shopping is, which is to like shop for people that are back in Nigeria, right? Because those were the contacts I had. I had not even built a community or had friends here that could say, okay, I can think of an offering to offer to them, So I did personal shopping. But one thing I didn't do right was to validate, was to like create a structure or even learn how to do it. I mean, I didn't know how to do my price. For those of you that have done personal shopping, there are different models, right? I didn't know how to do my pricing. I don't know how to charge customers. I didn't know how much percentage. And you know how as soft as my heart is and as I don't know how to say it. When it comes to business, I was really new to business at this time. So I'll just like put like maybe I don't know. I don't even know how I did it. All I knew is that I was doing it, I was shipping, and anything I do, there's some part of my energy that goes into it. And like the blessing that comes on it as well. I was shipping nothing less than 100 kg every week, every Thursday, you know, outside the UK. But I didn't have any money left. The only extra I get out of it is to do shopping for my son as well. That was my profit. So the profit I already spent it within the process of the business itself. Right. So there was no structure, there wasn't like a validation of the need or the scalability of the business. And, you know, yeah, the business would have continued, but guess what? I wouldn't have made any money out of it. I wouldn't have. And again, if you don't even make this money, how can you even help others? How can you like, say you want to do scholarships and all of these things I do now. So what am I trying to say? I just started that out of like, I just needed something to do. And I know there are so many people that make that mistakes. I had a couple of coaching calls with, some aspiring business owner during the week. And there were some questions I asked them that they couldn't, answer, which was, right, who are your, apart from your friends and family, the problem you're trying to even solve, are you sure it's not a problem of you? It's not a problem that is peculiar to just you and maybe a few people. How big is this market you're trying to solve the problem for? How scalable is this business? And again, sometimes you also get emotional with business. It's good to add emotions to business in some areas or in some ways, but there are some times that maybe we want to solve a problem. We're thinking our unique point, selling point is how we want to solve the problem. But do really people really care about how you want to solve the problem if it's not going to give them the result they want? So validating your business idea is very important, and selecting the appropriate legal structure initially, right, is also, very important. So another thing I did, and this validation and everything was related to my earlier ventures, right? After that as well, I think I've tried my hand on a couple of things, although, like I said, and that's what people miss out. I had the skills. I did, like I said, I did the personal shopping. I also have some skills naturally. I can make hair. I can do a lot of things, right? I can do a lot of things. So, like when you are multi-skilled and divergent like that, knowing which one as well that would you can turn into a business that is scalable. The fact that I can make it does not mean that I should open a salon. I don't know if anybody is with me. The fact that I have the skill to be able to make hair does not mean that a salon is the business I should open. Right. And even if I open a salon, it doesn't mean I have to make hair. I can have a salon today now, invest in a salon, but I won't be the one to make the hair. But I can make hair as well. And that's a mistake that some people make, right? You have to be like this same personal shopping. Let me now tell you what I mean by personal shopping. Shortly after, when I started RKY, the first few years of RKY, we used to have business coaching for those that wanted to explore the innovator visa to make their business tech enabled. And there was this lady we got the startup now called Innovator Visa for. What she does now, is a mix of personal shopping and a couple of other things. But at that time, she had the business idea. She used to be a retail person, and she wanted to use that idea to get innovator visa. But guess what? That idea won't fly because it's not tech enabled. And together, we sat down, we sat down and we restructured the business to make it tech enabled. And she got endorsed. She got endorsed, as a startup expansion business that help, people procure large scale to expand. So blah 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 blah. I mean, I'm not trying to give too much details here, but of other people's businesses. But what am I trying to say? Validating the idea and also making it tech enabled is very, important. And then I can't count how many people do that in air and beauty related businesses, but they don't use their hand to make the hair. And I know so many people that make hair today and they want to get out of it, because it's not a sustainable or scalable kind of business, the back pain, all of that, right? However, if you come in with, I'm getting this into this as a business, then that would help you like make the right decisions, right? And then another thing, earlier as well in the, earlier as well in my business journey, I used to like try to do everything alone. I used to find it difficult to trust and like give like what's it called? Trying to do it alone, you know, not trying to get help or not trying to get coached or support from people, because and where does that usually lead? It will lead to you making those mistakes, like I said, that you should have avoided if you learned, from the right people, if you sought help, if you invested, right? And also essential systems and automation. Also, if you want to scale your business, yeah, delegation, very, very important. You need to learn to delegate. You need to really learn to delegate, really, right? And then leveraging systems and automation. If you know, if yeah, you need to learn how to use systems, have a booking system that is reliable. And if you're like a booking related business, have a booking system, have a payments automation, such that even when you are sleeping, paying people are paying, money is entering your accounts in your sleep, and then you can now be dealing with how you attend to them after. But have a system in place. There's nothing, they can't wait until they see you before money enters your accounts. You can't have that system where people have to wait to see you before money enters your accounts. And then visibility and support gaps, right? One of the things I would say was one of the mistakes I made. I'm not sure if any of you follows me on my personal pages, Rukayat, Coach Ruki on IG, right? And my personal Rukayat Alabi on LinkedIn. If you look at the number of followers or community I have on those personal pages compared to what I have on the business side, you would see that it's like the reverse is the case, right? You will not see a lot of corporate pages or company pages that have more followers than the personal, because people are able to do more with their personal. But for me, it was reverse, right? I have about 18K on LinkedIn, on RKY Careers. We have 50K now on RKY Careers Instagram. But my personal page, I have 1,800, you know. So that's also another mistake that a lot of people make, not building your founder's personal brand. And I know a lot of people will say, oh, but I have a 9 to 5. I can't post about my business. Yes, you might not be able to post about your business on your 9 to 5, but you can post about what your current expertise is, build a community around that. The way people work and the way community work is you that they like, is you that whatever it is you sell to them, they would always buy. So, and that was another mistake. That was a big mistake I made. I was growing RKY Careers so fast. In fact, the speed at which RKY Careers was going back then, you know, um, we should be on 150K now, right? Or even more. But at the point we got about 35 or 40 or something, I think I got pregnant, and then I wasn't able to show my face. And that's another thing, like, it was my face people were used to, it was my face. Although I don't have any regrets with regards to that, based on some other things. Because at some point in business as well, you need to choose followers over sales. If you're making sales and followers are not a lot, you shouldn't worry yourself about that, right? But it's still part of it, right? So what am I trying to say? Then I had new initiatives I wanted to push. I had new things I wanted to do. Oh, RKY Careers is RKY Careers. I don't know if anybody can relate. I can't come and say you should do this on that. Like, there's some things I couldn't just post under the business page because each of my initiatives are their different brands. As much as you can collaborate. When did Instagram even start collaboration? Collaboration is like a new feature. I'm not sure that feature is even up to 2 years old or up to 1 year old, right? But then there was this problem. But the thing is, if it was me that had plenty followers, under my plenty followers, I can post about anything I do on my personal page. I don't know if anybody agrees with me, but me bringing another business under RKY Careers, so um I had that issue of how do I now sell other initiatives I want. It's still me now. I'm RKY Careers, but guess what? I'm not RKY Careers. I'm Rukayat Alabi, and I'm not limited to RKY Careers, right? There's so many other brands that I own. There's so many other things that I own. But sometimes I'll be like, okay, so if I now post about this on under my 1,800 followers, how many of them will see what I'm talking about? Right. So that's another thing. We can't wait until last minute before we build our founder's brand. So regardless of whatever it is, either you're in a job, whatever it is, even if you are learning, just post about, create a community around where you are right now. And when the time comes, you can always move your community right to whatever it is you're selling. It's just like influencers. Today they're advertising, so tomorrow is training, next tomorrow is immigration. So it's your brand. And even another thing that you should learn from that is that because a business can fail, but you see, you will continue to exist, and you can always pivot into other things. So you can't put all your baskets, all your eggs in one basket. However, there was a reason why mine was that way at the beginning, because of course 9 to 5 and all of that. And I would still advise anybody that has a 9 to 5 that are very strict to still try to build their brand so they should build their business brand under their business name while also building their personal brand as it relates to probably what they do or their expertise under their 9 to 5 as well. So I don't know if anybody has learned anything today, but just to be sure you guys have learned anything, in one word, tell me something you've learned so far in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and share. Or should we call it a day? Okay, Bimbola said she has learned to keep pushing. Clarity. Having clarity. Okay. Is there anything you've learned from my mistakes so far? Okay, so I see the responses are big. Learn to seek support and help. Is important to build a personal brand. I like to call it founder's brand. Build a founder's brand. Build your brand even if you're in a 9 to 5. Very important. You can go ahead and build your brand even with your 9 to 5. Yeah, build a community, personal branding. Having a skill does not mean that it's your niche. You need clarity. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Drudge. It's very, very important. You need clarity and you need to validate that it is scalable and viable as a business. Not all problem needs to be solved. I was telling one of my, coaching students, my business coaching students, just this week. This problem exists. I agree with you, but not all problem is a business opportunity. Not solving all problem is a business opportunity. Some people might acknowledge that a problem exists, but they will tell you that they are not ready to invest in the solving of that problem because it doesn't really pinch them really. Or maybe the way you want to solve it is not the way they would want to go, right? So you need to get all those clarity, right? But build your brand while all of this is happening. You don't even need to wait till you're ready to start a business to build a community, to build a brand, right? Damilola says to have a structure, Abimbola personal branding, Ololade putting systems in place, Peter building your personal brand and keep posting. Anne says to not underestimate social media community. Adebola puts a system in. Mary, remember to pay yourself. I love you guys. Have been like you've peeped into my other slides. I love that. Some people let's even call it a day now. You guys already have all the lessons. Olalade says automation. Lizzie says have a structure, being confident of your business. You see that clarity. How do we get there? Okay, from experience, it's a must to build outside your 9 to 5. Delegate where you can and learn from people who have gone before you. For me, it's usually the struggle to balance my day job and running my company. So I've learned today that it's possible to do the same in a more strategic way. Believe in delegation. You can't do it alone. Okay. Beautiful. So what was the cost to me? I love the fact that we are together. I mean, I love the flow of, the feedback. Okay. And that's the thing, and that's the thing about, I don't know if you guys have heard this saying or heard this, I don't know what it is, that if 3 people look at an elephant here, and they ask them to write what they see, their notes are never always the same. Their notes are never always the same. What would resonate with you will be different with what resonate, which is why it's good to seek support and coaching and mentorship. So for me, wasted resources, missed opportunities, and personal burnout, that was the cost. For some people, it could be way more. And probably for me, one of the reasons why maybe the cost to me was limited is because I'm also very strategic in thinking. So even if it looks like I'm missing out on something, I'm always doing something else that would actually make up for it. And you know, so now let's talk about why most businesses fail. No idea validation. You know, if you don't do your proper market testing, right? If you don't do proper market testing, you're likely to just start a venture that is not really even going to fly, right? And let's separate the difference between building personal brand and having a business. A lot of people, they talk a lot, they post a lot, yeah. They post a lot, they are building their brand, which is good, but don't confuse it with, and don't, it can be separate. You might not be ready for your business, but you can start building your brand. But when you want to really do business, you know, you need to validate your idea. You need to be sure it's really a market, you know. You need to be sure it's really a market and it's scalable for you to like do a business out of. right? Compliance confusion, poor understanding of the legal requirements and business regulations. Some people want to start a business in some fields and there are regulations required and there are licenses required, but they do not know. And then they go start the business, and before you know it, right, they have to close down the business. Do you know what? Businesses actually fail. I'm not sure you guys are aware that businesses actually fail. And I'm not saying businesses actually fail. I'm not saying businesses that you're doing on the side do that. Even if it fails, you have your 9 to 5 food. Like real businesses, like startups that have even gotten funding, that have gotten investments, that have done this. Businesses actually fail in the real sense, right? And there are so many reasons why it fails. These are just a few. Also, not financial weakness, not knowing how to price adequately, and your funding structure. Some people just you price based on emotions and not based on actually, enumerating and being sure that all your costs are covered plus tax, because you pay taxes if you want to do things right, of course. So invisibility, lack of market presence, lack of building your personal brand, inefficient operational systems, lack of guidance, and you see this last one, lack of guidance and coaching, very important. And I validate that more because the more I talk to business owners, the more I see that there's just a lot that people are not actually even thinking of that is important. A lot of people just feel, oh, I can make it, let me start a business. Oh, I can sew clothes, let me start. How many clothes do you want to sew? How many clothes do you want to sew to make 6 figures in future? I mean, to make 6 figures. How many hair can you possibly do in one day? At worst case, you do like 3 people's hair. How much is that? How much is that? Can you guys still hear me? Ostefila says they can't hear me again.
Yes, we
Yeah.
are hearing you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Right. So you can avoid this, by making sure that you confirm and validate your ideas before you go ahead to launch. You must make sure that you set processes in place to make sure that when you're ready. And another mistake a lot of people make, especially when they want to scale, they go ahead to scale without even, they go ahead to scale or to like attract more customers without being ready for it. And that's something that can also kill a business. You go and do sales, you now get like 1,000 orders, and it's just you and somebody like that are packing the orders. Or you go and do sales, you get like 500 clients, and your resources cannot, and then you end up having bad customer service. You end up making people unhappy. They give you bad reviews. They tell people not to work with you at all. They tell people to avoid you, right? So I'm going to throw it back to us now. What mistakes, either in your own journey, you know, do you think, what common mistake have you experienced, either directly or indirectly, that people make when starting a business? Let's discuss it. Let's drop it in the chat box. Or what? Yeah, let's drop it in the chat box. Okay. Okay, pricing with emotions. I love that. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep it coming. Beautiful. Not doing adequate market research, being afraid to charge for your services. You know what? I was actually being afraid to charge for service, especially if you're service based. And you know that even if you do a competitor analysis or industry analysis, you also need to like you now start rationalizing the fact that but this person, maybe they have more presence. Oh, but this one's, maybe that's the reason why they're priced that way. Knowing exactly how to price yourself. But the best thing you can do for yourself is to make sure that your costs is accounted for plus tax. And then every other thing, you can now base it on other brand benefits that you are offering that differs from the others. But doing computer analysis and knowing what your unique selling point is, once you are confident in what you are selling and what people will get as it differs from what they will get from others, you know, pricing your markets shouldn't be, a problem. And another thing I'll tell people when you're pricing or when you're marketing is do not always put price first, put value first. Let people know what they get. Let people know what they get first before you now talk about your pricing, and then it will make sense for people, right? Right. So Olawade also says pricing with emotions, lack of structure also. But guess what? You don't have to have it all figured out, right? But the thing is that if you say, okay, I want to go about all of this alone, of course it will take you longer before, it will take you longer to learn before you now like break even and all of that, right? But thinking their idea is the best thing ever and must get customers no matter what. I love this one you've just said, right?
Hello.
So sometimes,
Hello, sir. Yeah, Nasser.
Let's mute ourselves, please.
Yes, sir. That's me, sir. Good afternoon.
Can we mute that person? You Femi Yusuf, please mute yourself. You see this part, God, being in love with your idea. I cannot tell you how many ideas myself, because I like to consider myself as a bank of ideas, and not all my ideas are even businesses. Sometimes it's within a business, you get new ideas for new products, new services, new ways of doing things. I can't tell you how many ideas I've been so much in love with. And then I would like already have overestimated how much returns or how much acceptance that idea will get in the market. And then when the thing becomes a reality will be way different, from what I expected. So being in love with an idea, being emotional about your idea and thinking like, everybody is going to accept this idea. Sometimes might not really be the case. You need to be sure that there's a market for your idea, which is why it's always good to actually like launch things that people already come to you for solution, right? Because you already know that, okay, maybe want to, and then you can now think of, the strategy to widen your skill, or it has to have a scalable potential, really, right? But yeah, I totally resonate with thinking that your idea is the best thing ever. I must get customers. That's not always the reality. Okay. Even if you have the best idea and you have the best product, if you don't have the right marketing strategy, just like Zainab also said, and I remember that at the early stages of RKY careers, I would always like my marketing team, they're always like, I'm always like, we have the best products, we have the best service. What it would take us to serve one customer is what it would take us to serve 100 customers. Why are we stuck here? Right? If you have the best service and products, that's not what's going to give you customers, Some people that don't even have the best product, they're very good in marketing. They will attract customers more than you. But that does not mean that those customers will stay. They would go there. And that because they have the problem of maybe not having enough to scale, they will disappoint the customers, they'll get bad reviews and everything too. But having the marketing strategy is very important. Inconsistency, that's also a very big one. Like sometimes people that do well in business, please let's meet ourselves. People that do well in business are not even like the best, they're the most consistent. What I can't tell you how much consistency also played in my own game. Like if you've known me forever, like in fact, my consistency is even like increasing over the years, right? There's been no time of, and that's what kills businesses here. A lot of people they love the idea of owning a business, but guess what? They're not ready to put in the work, and that's what kills the consistency because the moment you face one hurdle and it looks like you can't handle it, which is another reason why you need a coach. You need someone to go to like, share with and for them to like push you, go back, go on. Don't worry, it's normal. It happens to all of us. But that consistency is very, 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 very important because guess what? Some people will just drop off from doing whatever they're doing in business, ordinarily, but also people is like issues, challenges, that just kill the consistency. And also no consistency in service because of no structure. And that one too is very important. You need to set your standard and you need to have a standard that this is my standard. This is the standard, that we're going to offer, regardless of how anybody wants or what's anybody, if they want me to reduce or whatever, this is our standard. We can only go higher from here. And the moment people know what you are, what you stand for, it will be easier for you to charge your worth, for you to, actually get repeat customers, referrals, none of that, right? So not having a clear process That's also very important. Not investing the profits back into the system, into the business. Feed. This is very important too. Because a lot of people, right? They've not even, it doesn't even turn to profits yet. And that's the thing. A lot of people feel sales is profits. Revenue and sales is not profits. You can't even say you've made a profit until when you've done your books for the whole year. That's when you will really know whether you have a profit or not. You need to reinvest. Some people, just because they've made a margin from one sale, they like, they eat everything. They take it to, I don't know, they use it immediately. And at the end of the year, you'd see that's even if the business makes it to the end of the year for them to do the books. But you need to reinvest the profits back into the business. The business needs to have a stable cash flow because it is cash flow. Cash flow is king in business. The more cash you have, the more you can actually invest in opportunities. The more you can quickly solve problems without having to raise funding. Of course, starting lean is also very important. Oh, Draji says thinking family and friends are your customers. This is very important too. Guess what? Your family and your friends, in fact, even if they're your customers, how many times can they buy from you? If they buy once, it depends on what you're selling. Anyway, if it's a product you're selling, that okay, they would always need something. But guess what? I've always been of the opinion, or my own business mantra is to cast my net wide and get my fishes. I never look at one group as my source or one person that I've just met. Oh, this person will give me 20 customers. That's never been the way I operate. And that has helped me to be an independent business owner. I never rely on any particular group of people. Yes, I know the importance of community and I have communities, but I never rely totally on any community, any person as my part. I don't know if you guys make sense from what I'm saying. I cast my net wide, including all these communities. I leverage all the things on the book for business. I spend on marketing, invest in marketing. Word of mouth is good as well. It's cheap, but you can't rely on word of mouth as well. It will only take you to certain limits. Not knowing your ideal customers, even for product-based business, people want to pay their fair prices. People don't want to pay their fair prices. Yeah, so with pricing, that's like a whole big ball game, right? Because there's a lot that goes into pricing. You market, your own personal cost. Sometimes it could be you. Maybe you are procuring from a very expensive source, and that's where business comes in. You need to know how to make things cheaper for your own customers, source from the best, cheapest place so that you can compete. You can't blame people if they can get something cheaper. It's called economies of scale. Some that have the fund, which is why it's not so. I'm linking everything together. You need to also keep your cash in the business, right? So that when the opportunity comes to source from, a better, a cheaper source, right? You might require to like purchase a large amount, but that would help you to help your customers and to keep you in business as well. So pricing is a whole lot. Pricing is a whole lot. Sometimes you need to target either volume. If you're selling perishable goods, for instance, okay, do you want to target volume over high margin? There's a lot of trade-offs, which we can of course discuss here. But guess what? Those are the things that make you understand, business. You can't just be like, oh, I'll do things my own way. That's not the way business works here. You need to like sit down, look at all the factors, right? Not redefining their target audience appropriately, who they intend to cater to, what their wants and pain points are, and how they effectively address these unique areas. This is very important. So you need to know what you're selling, your why, who you are selling it to, and how you are selling it to them, right? No plan for rainy days. Yeah, which is why you need to reinvest back into the business. You need to do your insurance. You need to do all those things, do your insurances, make sure you're registered, be part of, communities or organizations that protect interests, do your IPOs, do all those things, your cyber insurance, and all of that, right? Not moving business online post-COVID when industry dynamics have changed. This is important. There's so many people that are stuck. Guess and that it sounds very easy, right? But guess what? If you're on the other side as a business owner as well, some of these decisions, when you need to pivot, when you need to change, they're not that easy because it requires a lot of logistics. You look at the admin, but guess what? The fact that sitting down to do that, strategizing to like, okay, my market has changed. This is what they want now. They don't want to come to physical whatever anymore. We need to move this online. We need to move this to. It's very important. It's part of strategizing and understanding your market and what's important to them. Not surrounding yourself with the right people or support system. Yeah, very important. Family and friends sometimes don't even believe in your dreams. You should have a global network of customers. About the pricing, what do you do when you consider value versus volume? You mean value or margin versus volume versus higher margin? Value is expensive service equals value equals expensive service, high-end customers. Volume is low prices. It could be the same customers, but if you know that, say for instance, this same products here, you can sell it cheaper, such that you can sell it like maybe just £1 cheaper. And because you are £1 cheaper, a lot of people will come to you to buy from you. But they won't just buy that product from you. They would also say, oh, you become the one-stop shop. And that's marketing has a lot of gimmicks, Because they always find this particular product for you cheaper. They will end up buying other things that are more expensive. So you need to know what product moves the needle in yours. What product moves the needle? What do people don't want to spend so much for? And then, you get repeat customers, you get complimentary purchases based on the one they've come for. And also maybe if you don't even sell it within a certain amount of time, it's going to perish anyway. You have to still sell it lower. So why not just sell it lower at the beginning? Let everything clear. You have your funds, your revenue back, you buy more, you're moving volumes. Most people, and that's why a lot of people do wholesale. People that do wholesale, right, when they are doing selling products, they don't really sell. I think even in service-based businesses as well, but it depends also on capacity. Do you want to make your things cheap? Can you handle, maybe at the beginning it's just you. At the point where it's just you know that, okay, I can only do one customer a day, and for that one customer, I'll give them the best of the best of the best of the best, and my price is going to be £1,000. But later, you have a team, you can take about 5 customers, right? So 5 customers will be £5,000 for you, but you're the only one doing that business. You might want to now think that, okay, how about I make it 750, five, 750, 5 of you, and probably your um employees or staff or resources that you're using, you've sourced them as well from places where it doesn't cost what it costs to get them, so one to like 750 to whatever the cost is compared to 1,000 to just you. So scalability. But you don't want to take 5 customers, charge them £500, and it's still only you that will do it. You end up not delivering their expectation and disappointing them. So it's a trade-off. You need to like make the best decision. You need to make the best decision that works for you. But having said all of these things, let me ask you guys one question. Why are you looking to get into business? Why are you looking to get into business? I love that, the last question was very interactive. Every point you guys made has made a lot. I can personally resonate with having to deal with all of those things at different times. But why are you looking at business? Why do you want to go into business? What is your why? Okay, Sarah says to get extra income. That's a very, very valid why. Everybody needs extra income, don't they? To bridge a gap, okay? To build legacy, extra income and stability. Beautiful. What is your why? Why are you looking to start a business? Why are you looking to become an entrepreneur? I'm tired of putting my energy in other people's wealth building. I need that energy for my future. Beautiful. And it could even be because of your location. Because to be honest, if I was still in Nigeria, I'm not sure I would have thought about doing a business or started a business. Sometimes it's just a matter of being in the right place and the right time to create financial stability and the lifestyle I want around my family. I love that too. I need more whys. I need more whys. I need more whys because everything I'm seeing here looks like income. Okay, bridging a gap, building a legacy. Do we have more whys coming in? Okay, so another question I will now ask you is, what is holding you back? It's the best form of financial freedom. I bet you. I totally bet you. What's currently holding you back from, what's holding you back? Lack of clarity. Okay, what's holding you back? Or do all the 45 people that I have in the room, are they all six-figure business owners? Let's all just go and, let's go and have okay, lack of clarity and fear. Visa status to see if I can sponsor myself in the UK. I don't know how to start. I'm wanting to start big. Fear of failure. How to start. Fear of failure. I love what I'm hearing because I can see myself in you guys. I can see myself in you guys. Okay, in those reasons you've given. Is that all we'll be getting? Okay, so with regards to those that said, visa to settle myself and all of that. So let's talk about the visa pathways, right, for founders. I need support and mentorship. Well, that's why I'm here. How to start and where to start. Well, that's why we've got the RKY Business Coaching. But before we get right onto that, let's talk about the visa pathways for founders. I'm sure we all know where the UK immigration and everything is right now with regards to, frowning at some pathways while looking to encourage other pathways. How many of us are aware that the mayor of London was in Africa, in a couple of African countries, including Lagos, in the last week? Who can tell me why he went there? Who knows why he went, why he did that? Who knows why he did that? I was actually supposed to be at that event. They call it bridging borders between London and Lagos. Why are they trying to bridge borders? But at the same time, they're also saying they don't want immigration, isn't it? Business partnerships. Who knows the reason why they went there, or why he and his delegates went there? Because yes, in as much as they don't want immigration, they want real problem solvers. Even though the entire thing right now is looking like, oh, we don't want African people, we don't want Nigerians, we don't. But guess what? They want us, but they want the right people. They want business owners. They are trying to meet the caliber of people. So what they are doing is like a retargeting. We've attracted people. A lot of people are here. But it looks like generally we are saying we don't want them anymore. But we still want them. But we want some type of people among them. That's why it was a founder tech startup kind of, they want those that will come and do business. They want those that will come and bring increase employment, pay taxes to get the best of the best feed. They want our money, submit it and go back. Well, you're already here. You might as well submit your money. But anyways, it's only money we have that we submit. I would rather have and have enough to submit than not have at all. Right? Now let's talk about, so they're still favoring immigration in some areas, or favoring, some kind of immigration. They want to encourage business owners. They want to encourage entrepreneurs to start businesses. Those are the real people they wanted in the first place, right? So what it means is that it's not all doom story. It's not all doom. Some visa types like innovator visa, which you will get if you have an idea that is scalable, viable, and has potential to grow, is still very much available, and they're even trying to ease the way. How do you get this visa? All you need to, like I said, is to have an idea that is scalable, viable. We have 4 endorsing bodies. In fact, one of the endorsing bodies will be coming to speak to us at some point. They just reached out to me that, I don't know what their name is. They reached out to me that they are part of the 4 endorsing bodies by the approved by the Home Office and they want to work with me. They know I've got a community of founders and immigrants, and they are not selling anything because it's not like they're the one that will do the visa for you, but they want to work with me so that we can use them. I can prepare people, help people get those business plans through my business coaching program and prepare them such that they just apply to them for the endorsements. So they are coming to deliver a webinar anyways, right, to us on how we can position ourselves for the innovator visa. Right. So this visa is a 3 years visa that leads directly to settlement. Although you might need to have, some amount of money to show, not in your accounts. It could be an investor, just someone I'm sure everyone here has somebody that they know that has money in their family network that can sign that, okay, I'm investing 60K, 50K in this account, and this is my statement for you to show that. But the thing is, you need to have intention to run business, so because that's another thing that's another reason why they reach out to me, among others. They saw that I've got this, personal, I've got this passion, and they can see that I do things right, which is why I told you guys that always have that mindset that you want to do things right. They don't like people that are preparing people to start business because they want to do self-sponsorship. But I've never marketed my coaching program that I'm going to help you. Yes, it's a possible outcome, but I'm not going to promise you that that's the reason why. Sure, you get. I'm not going to tell you don't start business the right way. Just do this, do this, do this. Me, I'm teaching you how to start business. I'm not teaching you how to put together self-sponsorship package. What am I trying to say? So we got that. We got the Global Talents Visa. This one as well, they recognize founders and leaders in their field. We used to have the startup visa, but it's now been migrated. It's now been moved to the innovator founder visa. I know this innovator founder visa, right? You can even do it and still have a 9 to 5 job alongside that is still fending for your family while you are experimenting and starting your business. So I think this is one of the best visas right now. Right. It might be quite expensive than the rest, but I think it's and Global Talent Visa, they're the best, especially because you don't even need to have a successful business already. It's the idea you need to have. And you only need to make that idea tech enabled. And like I told you, there's some people I've supported that I've helped people that do to turn their business to a hair, like tech enabled hair kind of business. And when you get the visa, you can now make sure that you do everything you have to do, have multiple income streams to make sure that money is entering the account at the end of the day. Right? So, and also we've got the skilled worker self-sponsorship where you can own a business alongside a settled partner, and then you guys will get the COS, the normal way, and sponsor yourself. Right? So, but what am I trying to say? Opportunities abound. We don't even know where these opportunities will be used. I know so many people that now have one of these visas, and they didn't even know when they started that what they were doing at the time would lead that. If I needed the visas, I am talking to you guys right now, there's no kind of visa I can't get in this UK. If it's innovator founder visa, I qualify. If it's global talents visa, I qualify. I can't count how many companies reach out to me and say they can see that my profile is good. Do I need this global talents visa? If it's a skilled worker visa, I can get my company COS and sponsor myself. There's no kind of visa that I can't get right now. But that didn't start with me doing it because I want to use it to get visa. It started with me just doing, what I wanted to do. But I understand that, yes, we all have different motives, we all have different circumstances, situation, timing, but mindset of wanting to do things right always take us a long way as well. Right. So now let's talk about why you need a coach. Why do you need to work with someone? Why do you need to work with me? Because figuring it out alone is exhausting, very exhausting. Like they always say, even after you achieve that success, it's still usually lonely at the top, which is why I'm happy to have my community as well. Because Google can't personalize a strategy for your business. It's when I sat down and spoke to the couple of founders I spoke to this week that are coming on board the business coaching started in August. I now like revalidated the fact that, people really need that support, because there were some questions and, take homes I gave them, because in our own business coaching, you have to go back to go refigure out things like you leave and the things you need to come back with when you're coming to the next class, you would have gotten a bit of that clarity you all said you wanted. You are going to definitely get it if you work with me, right? Google cannot personalize a strategy for your business, because without accountability as well, ideas remain ideas. Guess what? plenty people have ideas. It's so many people have ideas. In fact, there's no idea that is there's no monopoly of idea. But guess what? You still see people that are making success and building successful business because they took action. And they took action with support, with accountability. Because a coach shows you what you do not know, shows you what you don't know. Like I said, there were some of the people I met last week in their onboarding class, right? And there were some questions I asked them, like, okay, apart from this, I understand you have this skill and you intend to turn this skill to money. That's good. Tell me, give me 5 other income streams that you intend to have from this. Tell me. By the time I asked about 5 other questions, they're like, I didn't even think about this. Oh, okay. Well, that's why you're in the coaching program. You can't be in a coaching program and do things the way others would do it and be making mistakes from it and be bouncing. And you have to do things different. And that's the mindset you need to take into it. There's some things you don't even know that you don't know, that you don't know you should know. Right? Because clarity, structure, and guidance, gives confidence and gives results. So imagine having someone who has walked the journey, guide your steps, saving you time, money, and mistakes. And what would success look like if you get it right? You go from being stuck on having an idea to profitable launching between 8 to 10 weeks. The clarity and confidence you will gain through the RKY coaching will be transformative. I have some of my students out there already that are like flying, that are like, really doing well. They're even already getting speaking engagements. They're already right. And I'm super, super proud of them because that's the model. Like my own model is not to build silently, it's to build, make impacts, right, while at it as well. Right. So I can't count how many of my founders, I've secured strategic partnership. In fact, one of my students have been invited to speak outside of the UK. Right. Imagine speaking engagements in another European country, right? Which is like a very fantastic step, right? You also report gaining clarity, like in the few sessions I've had, because the real cohort based is starting on the 2nd of August. But like so many of the students I've spoken with, right? They've gained clarity, confidence, and are on track to actually build consistently. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the RKY Business Coaching Program. And I like the fact that for most of you, you have idea, but what is holding you back is the action, which we are going to do together. So in 10 weeks, we're going to like be together on an outcome-based program. So it's not just you sitting down and listening and learning. We're all going to be like talking, and that's why I'm keeping my class to about 10 to 15 only, so that it can be intimate. I can actually be involved and know what your business is also about and give you direct steps. Sometimes I also bring people in that are like directly linked to exactly what you want to do as well, to talk to us also about different things. But you'll get 10 weeks, right, of guidance, and it will be outcome based. You create a folder for yourself, and all the assets you're going to be submitting as your assignments, they're all going to be your business assets that you would use. I can't tell you how many times, even to now in business, that I have to talk about my why. I can't count how many forms I've had to fill. That there's some questions that, and I didn't know this my own why from the start. I've been evolving. Of course, it will still evolve as well, but having clarity of purpose is very important. Now, I'm more confident than in business than I was when I started, over 3 years ago, right? But it's better to start with clarity of purpose to save time, right? I work like a machine. For those of you that know me, and my brain also works like that, very fast. I pivot very fast. I think very fast. I launch things very fast, right? In fact, I'm slower now that I have a bigger team, because monitoring and chasing people to do things that normally I'll just sit down and do it myself is, is a bit making me slower. But what am I trying to say? Not everybody is like me. Not everybody's like me, because in doing that, I also have children. I have 2 wonderful. I have 2 children I have a family. I have, in fact, up until 1 year ago, I had a 9 to 5 as well. I was jogging. That's why I said not everybody is like me, because sometimes I speak to people and just motherhood alone is overwhelming them with it. I'm not saying I'm a magician or anything, and I'm not perfect. I don't have it all together, but some things I trade off some for the others, right? So what am I trying to say? 10 weeks of guided support from me personally, right? There's the one-to-one, if you want to talk to, like, just me, and there's the cohort-based, small group. Then you're also going to learn out customer acquisition strategies to attract and convert your first paying customers. There's so many people you see that have a lot of followers, community, blah, 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 but they don't have paying customers. So they don't have a business. They wait until another brand comes to say, okay, we'll pay you £100 or do a video, we'll pay you. But, you need to learn how to get your own customers, strategies to attract and convert your paying customers, legal and compliance, expert guidance, on how to like set up the right structures. And also, like I said, because of how we work with different partners, immigration, innovator visa, there's also that possibility to point you directly to where you would, because for me, it's not about people gaining skill from it, it's about using it to achieve the goal they want to achieve with it as well. All right. So we work with different partners, immigration experts and co that would connect you with that can now take you to the final points at the end as well. Business strategy, branding, pricing, content frameworks that work. Very important. I told you guys that at the moment I'm playing catch up rights on my personal LinkedIn. I started posting on my personal LinkedIn just a year ago when I left 9 to 5. And if I go to my personal LinkedIn and compare it to like most of you down on this call, I still have more, not just followers. The people that connect with me, they're always like CEOs, directors, this and that, than you guys. And why is that? It's about using the right strategy and building authority for what you want to be known for. It's not just about posting. It's not just about, in just 1 year, I have close to 6,000 followers now on LinkedIn. That's my own personal LinkedIn. Whereas on my business LinkedIn, I had about 18K. And that's where business comes from. All my speaking engagements, most of them have come from LinkedIn. Podcast invites. In fact, I told them that I can't even, my DMs on LinkedIn now, I have about 100 unread messages. There's some awards they tell me, come and win one award in the US, come and win one in Paris. I'm not, if I'm that's why I said I leave some and I leave some for I leave some for others, because it's not everything. But what am I trying to say? Opportunities come from these places. And that's why they always say too that some people are not so good. Me, I can tell you that I'm good at what I do. That's why I'm not just all talk. Some people on LinkedIn, they are better talkers. They have more followers than me, but they can't deliver, the result. But guess what? They will still get opportunities. They will still keep getting opportunities because they are showing up. Right. But the people we were coaching and grooming here, they are not just people that talk. When they also get, to the other side, they would also do, right? Systems and tools, knowing the systems to quickly implement, or knowing the right times to implement them, CRMs to use, booking systems to use, right, is also very important. And digital solutions, having a website, also you get a free homepage, right, from business. So even if when it comes to delegation, how to get employees from you, like how to learn how to delegate without having to incur so much cost. All right, there's so much you can learn from me, but when you come to the other side, that's when you get that access, right? So you also get templates. You build your business plan. That business plan, you'll be submitting it in a lot of applications and places. You learn marketing, you learn content creation, you'll be part of a community, we'll meet weekly. You would actually like all these questions that we've looked at together, you would actually sit down. So who is this for? Aspiring entrepreneurs. If you have a business idea, but you're not sure how to turn it to reality, side hustlers and content creators. For if you have one of those, content creator, you have a niche, you have followers on TikTok, it's time to turn that to not just the side hustle, but a successful business. And that's another thing that's very important. For me, I was very intentional from day one. I started RKY Careers page as Life Career UK or Life in UK. I can't remember, but I was very intentional as career. But shortly after, I'm not sure I even maintained that page for like a year before I pivoted, before I registered my business. I'm a fast mover like that. But not a lot of people, get that insight. People always get, I don't want to receive money in my personal account. I don't even wait till I'm challenged before I do things right. Because sometimes you'll not be challenged. Customer will ask you, why do we have to pay to your personal accounts? Why are we not paying to a corporate account? Are you a real business? You get all sorts of customers, especially when people want to pay. Even everyone wants to pay, that's when you get a lot of challenges. But you don't have to wait. Set that standard so that you can be there rather than being here and trying to crawl there, right? So early stage founders, also people that want to like scale their businesses, right? Career transitioners as well. You want to move from professional to entrepreneurship, or you want to do the two together. I've done it together. I did it together for over 3 years before I left 9 to 5. So it's also very possible as a mom, as a business owner, career professional. It's possible. Of course, I'm not saying give yourself, over push yourself, but right, you need to like build your own thing. It's very important to build your own thing because that's the one that will last long. As I am right now, if they say my children's school they need me at so time, I'll be there. If they say, I mean, and there's nothing in, especially in this space. I don't have everything, to be honest. I still wish I'm in Nigeria so I can have all the support and made of this world. But as it is, right? I still have, I'm still like where a lot of people would like to be, right? And I'm sure that we'll all get there as well. So when is the next start date? The next start date, like I said, is 2nd of August, 10 weeks, 8 plus, you get a lot of resources, templates, and all of that. And yeah, you also get support in the community. You get to join, there's a separate, for those of you that are in our WhatsApp group, there's a separate group for paid clients where we share a lot of resources, events, all those things that would take you to the next step. So we have limited slots. Like I said, I already have some people we are onboarding into the next class, right? So we have limited slots now for just a few more. So if you want to get clarity, you want to actually have a successful business that, you can now boldly talk about as well, now is your time. The link to secure your slots is on the group now. It's currently on a discount for £750, being the fact that it's the first cohort base. I have people that have worked one-to-one. If you want to work with me one-to-one, that's also possible. That's £2,000 on the current discounts. However, I know that people would prefer the community-based one. And, we have that on a discount for £750. We have a couple of people already on board, and we can't wait to welcome, more people so that we can all build together, because I love the fact that people say I inspire them, but I want to do more than inspire. I want to hold your hand. I want to hold your hand. I want us, to rise together. I want us to have more than inspiration to show for it, right? To show for it. Okay. So what would you get? Together would, legal structure, setting up your business in the UK, gain clarity on your offers, how to set up a bank account, how to register your business, build visibility with confidence. You'll get like, it's going to be very interactive and fun, I promise you, because the curriculum is heavily packed, right? So you'll be supported by myself, be supported by a coach and a community that understands your journey. You also get a free website such that, you can start building your SEO. We'll teach you all of those things. You can start building your authority, you can start getting your bookings, and all your social media, everything we're going to be doing together. There's something for all of those. We're going to do social media together. We're going to do content. We're going to do systems and automation and web presence. We're going to do visibility, PR, legal and compliance, getting customers, and would try to make you get at least your first paid customer before the end of the session. So if you've been thinking of taking your business seriously or starting a business, this is your moment. This is your moment. So you need to secure your slots now. And the best part is that you can pay in installments. So you can pay in 3 to 4 installments. Klarna allows you to pay in 3 installments. ClearPay allows you to pay in 4 installments. And the link to secure your slots has been dropped. Joy, the link you dropped is not the same as the link on the page, the link on the screen. Is it the same? So you can secure your slots now. So guys, tell me, what is going to be holding you back from joining the coaching program? Are we still together?
Yes, the money.
Sorry? Oh, the money. Right. By the way, this is like really, really discounted, This is really discounted because you're working with me. Do you know what? Let me tell you guys something. I think when we're trying to get sponsorship for LWB, for those of you that know what LWB is all about here, there were some people that was referred to. In fact, that was referred to that. Oh, they also do events. And when you meet with these people, they will come with a slide. You're meeting with someone one-to-one, they come with a slide and they would ask me, do you have a high ticket business? I'll say, yes, I have high ticket business. Say, what's your price? I'll say £600. And they're like, oh, that's not a high ticket business. But anyway, let's go ahead. By the time they get to the end of their slide, guess the prices that will be at the end of their slide? £10,000. And guess what they're offering? Just content. We help you build content, help you build authority. I'm like, build authority, something that I did myself within 1 year and build up to this, And I'm like, that when I got to the end of the slide, I'll be like, I truly don't have a high ticket business because I thought I did, So 10K is what high ticket business means. Okay. Until then. But guys, right. So, okay. So everybody says the money. Yep, you're investing £750, right, to work with and to set up a business that would, earn you 6 figures. I think it's actually like a very, very big, it's a very, very good offer, to be honest. If you really want to invest, in your business, however, one yeah, if you want to invest in yourself, in your business, is there a replay for this session? Yes, I think the replay will be uploaded on I don't know where they upload it to, whether it's RKY Careers or RKY Business or YouTube. But yes, if you're on can we drop the link to the WhatsApp group so that we can drop the replay there and they can find it? And also we can drop some polls, to ask you guys more questions, By the way, if that sounds like, you don't want the 10 weeks program, there's also an opportunity to have just a one-to-one with me. That's just £70. It's just about 30 to 1 hour, 30 minutes to 1 hour, just to get clarity. Right. So if that's what you can also explore that. You can explore just, you can explore that. So that's just for business advisory for 30 minutes. Right. And yeah, basically. So guys, we need to actually move right from being sitting on the fence, sitting on our idea to actually building the idea. So guys, join the WhatsApp community. Based on what you guys have said, they might actually, we will engage you guys more in the community, against the 2nd of August. But I want to believe and I hope, right, that you guys have learned one or two things from today's session. And I want to see you guys. I look forward to seeing you guys, right, in class in August. So guys, like I said, investing in your brand is very important. I've paid for coaching sessions. I've paid, there are some rooms that you want to enter that you have to pay. I've paid up to £4,000 to exhibit in some places before. I've paid up to £2,000 to exhibit, or just to have a stand. And the thing is, you need to understand the value you are getting. You need to understand the value, that you are getting. So sometimes you need to invest to get the results. Not even sometimes, all the time, because even your time that you are here is an investment of your time. You could actually be anywhere. You could be, in fact, I'm supposed to be at an exhibition now. I should start making my way down so I can get there on time. I'm supposed to be at an exhibition now as we speak. Anyways, it's been such a great time. So guys, how was the session? Drop your feedback in the chat box. I hope you've learned one or two things, and I look forward to seeing you in the full one where we'd actually work together beyond you just hearing me. And join the WhatsApp group as well for more information about the session. So by the way, make sure you also secure your slot. You can pay in installments, you can pay in 3 installments, you can pay in, I think, in 4 installments. Cleppy allows you to pay in 4 installments. Every month you just pay. So I think that is way more than, and you're also going to get a website. Just a website alone. I know someone that showed me, the cost, the invoice they gave her to build a website in this UK, and it was like £15,000. I'm like, who did you offend? Right. So for us, we are even giving you the website for free. So for those of you that are in Nigeria, definitely, if you're in Nigeria, when we drop the poll, are you on the group? So Joy, if you can drop a poll in the WhatsApp group, let people take their location. So if you're interested
I'm on the group.
Right. So Joy, if you're there, drop a poll on the group that if you want to join the program, and you are in Nigeria, or I will tell you the poll to drop anyway, so that people can tick and then we can take action based on that. Right. So there's definitely a special discount for people that are in Nigeria that want to join. Right. However, it's been a great one having you all here. Let me go about my business life as well. Right. And I look forward to seeing you in August. Have a great weekend, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mama Ruki. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome, guys.
I put the link for the WhatsApp group. I'll post it again.